Hello, everyone. Truly delighted to be here again. And we have a very special person. We have Dr. Varudhini, who is a psychologist, and she has done her PhD in family sciences. And one of the best human beings I've met, and very warm, friendly. So she is the co-founder of Inner Connect. And if you remember, last week we did a very interesting session with her partner Shalini Gyanchandani on, helping the senior citizens and showing empathy towards our senior citizens in the time of the pandemic. So today we have a very interesting topic. It's about how to deal with finances, like the financial crisis that most of us are going through this whole challenging phase. This whole 2020 has been such a huge change for all of us. So welcome, Doc. We are truly happy to have you here and looking for some tips to help us cope with this phase that we all are going through.
Well, thank you so much, Priya, for having me. I always enjoy our talks. I always get something from the way you question and your experiences as well. So thank you. I think the topic that you picked on today is very vital. There is a lot of uncertainty in terms of financial uncertainty. And there are some quick tips that we can do to help ourselves to see whether we're dealing with it correctly, or what do I do to make sure that, I'm coping and kind of doing the right, I'm dealing with it in the correct manner.
Yeah, because, when my clients came to me, as you know, I'm a life coach and image consultant working with women and children. A lot of my clients said that, their environment at home is not very nice because many of them are going through, I wouldn't use the word depression because I don't know whether it's the right word to use, but they have definitely dipped in their energy because of all the financial losses, So if you could give us like 2 to 3 quick tips on what we could do, which will really help us a lot.
Oh, absolutely. So I think the first one is when you're feeling the financial insecurity, don't immediately be very impulsive with your decisions.
Correct.
We tend to think, okay, let's just sell the car. Maybe that'll give us an extra. You need to think about it carefully and strategize, because the more you can think and strategize, the more feeling of security you have in terms of how you want to deal with it. So the first thing is, don't be impulsive in your decisions. The second is assess your financial situation. Get stock of what you really have. And talk to your husband or your wife about it. Find out what is going on. How safe are you? What are the things you can do to mitigate some risks that you might be taking? Things like that. The third one is that if you feel that emotionally, after doing the first 2 steps, which is not being impulsive and assessing your financial situations, and you still feel kind of worried, and that worry is persisting through the day, and you can feel it at night before going to bed. Sometimes you might even get up with feeling this financial insecure feeling. Then you realize that, wait, this is a little bit more deeper. And when that happens, it'll be great for you to talk to someone, if not a friend or someone that you feel like can really get where you're coming from, a therapist, so that you can find out whether there's maybe the anxiety is coming from, one, is it about you and your failure for not doing something, or is it based on your skill set? You feel like, okay, I don't have the skill to keep this job, or I don't feel like I'm feeling financially insecure because I feel like there are 101 people doing the job better than me. Like, just to kind of figure out where is this insecurity really coming from.
Yeah, the root.
So getting a therapist's point of view and working through that would really, really help you.
Yes, actually, you're right. You're saying that. I'm so glad you mentioned in your third point saying that one should look at a therapist, because this is a message that, in our country many times, okay, and I've seen it, okay, like even if I tell my dad, or if I tell anybody, forget my dad, even if I tell anyone, like I think I'm depressed, I'm really feeling low because, things have really not worked for me. So people give us like a short-term solution, like, why don't you start exercising? Why don't you go for a walk? Or why don't you, even now, like though, I feel it's so important to encourage people to take professional help, because there are few things, like like you mentioned, if it's persisting, if you're waking up in the middle of the night thinking of you, no matter how much of pep talk your family gives you, how much of meditation, gratitude journal, whatever you do, it really doesn't help. So,
Right.
Arundhati, I really want you to say a little bit about how therapy can help people
Right.
a little more than what support a family gives, because this is something we really need to spread out there right now.
Yeah. So I think the first point for that would be that the therapists are professionals in the line of working with your emotional ups and downs and challenges. So they know how to help you introspect on what are the areas that you're finding difficult, help you to clear some of that, confused or overwhelming amount of emotions that you might be feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And also while doing that, the therapy, through talk therapy, mostly it's talk therapy, that they help you to figure out where it might be stemming from.
Correct.
And what can you do to kind of cope in an effective manner, rather than you thinking that it is the way to do it.
Correct.
And think that, and you're just doing it because everyone says do it, but maybe that's contradictory to what you really need.
Because a lot of my clients told me that meditation is not helping. Like, he's still waking up, because you know what, last year, my partner and I, we did so many events, we did so many launches of stores, and 2018, 2017 were such great years in terms of event management, and so many people, exhibitions, there was so much of a buzz going on across. And the same people we help, and so many of them have come back to me right now because they're feeling like they owe people money. They don't know whether to shut shop, to keep it on hold. And there are few things that we can't really help, because we need more of a professional guidance for such kind of advice. So is there anything that you would like to share with these people who started something, who had so much energy, and they've all dipped in this past 4 months? Is there anything that you can share with them?
I think the first thing is you have to be very commendable that you started on something and took the courage to start something. And you put it and gave it such a personal touch, because it was like your baby that you were growing, right? So you put in so much time and effort. And this situation of the pandemic is something that was way out of your control. You had nothing to do with it.
Correct.
And so therefore, the effect of it is not your personal responsibility.
Yes.
It's not a personal failure.
Yes, it's not like you've lost interest. It's not like you don't want to do it, right?
Exactly. It is a circumstance that has presented itself, and it's kind of like the barrier for you to move forward. Yes. So to cut it short, it's kind of like you're now in an unfavorable situation.
Yes.
So what can you do to make it favorable? Okay. Yes. So you can think about it in terms of like, okay, this is where I'm at. It's not working. How do I change it? Maybe I could do something completely, switch tracks.
Yes.
To see if I can keep the business going. Mm-hmm. And sometimes some businesses there's no two ways about it. You kind of have to understand that the business can't continue, and that you might feel really guilty for the people that work for you and then don't that they don't have a job anymore. But please remember that it's not the individual. You need to think about it as a company.
Yes.
And so you need to make the choice of it from the company point of view and not a personal point of view. And so in that regard, you need to think about what's the practicality of your situation and what has to be done. And you need to get your emotions to slowly come and match that, so that you are able to live and think about why you did it and not feel this negative emotions with the venture.
Yes, and I think even if, because we don't know for how long it's going to go on. And if we start deciding and making and calculating our assets and trying to value and revalue everything, it'll really help us right now, instead of having hope it's good to have hope, but I think being too optimistic, I think you need to have the right. Can you elaborate on it? Because a lot of
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
can you just?
I think what you're saying is correct. Yeah, you want to hope that something will work out, but maybe the working out isn't exactly what you think it needs to work out. Maybe it's something better, or it could be a pause for you to reevaluate and take the time to redirect.
Yes.
So everything will work out, and it might not feel that way right now.
Yes.
But it will slowly, once you rework and re-understand that you're going to approach it practically, not emotionally. You need to approach it practically, and then start working on how do I, do I now invest because I have the time in other skills so that I can get this new venture off on another track, or what do you do? But the thing is, you shouldn't lose that hope, and the hope needs to be something that you can do and tangibly feel like you're moving
something. And
somewhere.
I like the two things that you said. I mean, you've said a lot of nice things, but what's like really staying in my mind is making an unfavorable situation favorable, and redirecting your plans, keeping your hope alive and redirecting your plans, because that's again a message that people will probably relate to right now, because instead of just shutting shop, slow down, pause is the right way. And I think if we've had the strength to build something, we should tell ourselves that we must develop the strength to endure this. And you can agree with me on this. This is what I think. I said, for the past 70 years, in the last 72 years, none of us have seen something like this. The last time people, actually, you can listen to people from the north who said that they had to leave everything and come back to India during the partition, and they had to start from scratch. So we have been living in a beautiful, actually our life, especially our generation, we've not really seen something like this, and probably my parents, because they've got post independence. So is there something else that you would like to share with people who are going through that horrible pain?
Yeah, I think to understand that humans are very resilient.
Yes.
We feel pain, but we also have gone through so much in the past, and we're going to go through so much, but we're resilient. We always find new ways to kind of survive and new ways to thrive. And I think that even in that despair of feeling very low, it depends on what type of low we're talking about. But when you get the right type of support, that's one thing. Second is to understand that the pain is something that can morph into something that's a huge personal growth for you in terms of, tapping your own resilience in situations. And you will feel like you tend to reprioritize things that really matter to you and not on other things that don't matter. So you will find some content when you start to reprioritize these things.
I love what you said. Change your pain to personal growth and power. I mean, that's again, because there is pain. There is pain in a lot of people. I mean, they wake up, they say that they have that pain, that ache in their chest, and you don't know. First of all, you're dealing with the virus. Okay. Then you're dealing with so many other losses at home, financial or whatever. So it's so challenging, and that's why once again, before we end this whole session, because I want to do more sessions with you and Shalini, very topic specific, so that whoever's having a particular issue watches this particular thing, and then probably watch more of the talks that we're going to be doing together, because I feel that we must start talking about the pain, and we must start seeking professional help, because this is something which is going to stay for a while, and the faster we address it, the better it is for our emotional well-being. And then it has the minute we are sorted. And also what I love that you said is that the resilience bit, I mean, that's so true. I mean, we will come out of it, we will shine. And before ending the session, one question which a lot of my clients wanted me to ask you, because this is not a live session. A lot of them owe people money, and they're not able to pay them right now. So is there one tip to give them to just make them feel, I mean, any, better.
I think, yes, I think the biggest thing is you're intending to pay.
Yes.
Know that your heart is in the right place. Don't question it.
Yes.
Yes, it might not be something you can give. And hopefully, since this situation, everyone's a little understanding that this is really, everyone needs to be a little kinder and a little bit more compassionate with the situation. And most people I'm seeing are, but just in case, know that your intention is to pay.
Yes.
And that's where the whole thing is. You need to be very kind to yourself that you're not paying. Yes, you can feel bad, but the intention isn't you don't want to pay.
Yes. And also connect with the people who you owe money instead of feeling, I think that's also a good thing.
Absolutely.
Right?
When you talk to them more often and they also know where you're at and that you're not trying to hide or not pay or, where there's no communication, when you're really open and saying, hey, this is me, this is where I'm at, and how are you doing? Let's kind of keep the communication going. And as soon as something that account,
it helps the other.
You can pay the money back. So definitely, I think what you're saying is very, very true. Your intention, be kind to yourself, and then keep communicating with the person.
Yeah, I think the key now for everyone, including us, is communication. Yeah. If something is bothering you, and that's what you spoke about the couples as well. If something is bothering you, speak about it, talk about it, because you're not going to have a respite. In fact, that talk of yours really was well appreciated. I got a lot of calls post that, and it was post that when people said, please do more of these talks, and anything that can help people out through this platform.
And I enjoy it completely. So if we're able to do more topics that are going to reach more people, absolutely. Let's see.
Yes. Great. So once again, amazing talking to you. Thank you so much for all the inputs. We are going to make the unfavorable moment favorable. We are going to change pain to self-growth and change pain to power, and we are going to reassure ourselves that we have been resilient and we will be resilient and we will embrace all the changes that come our way. So thank you again, and it was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much. Same here. Take care. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.